This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. This is a sponsored message. I've been using Anchor as my podcast host for a while now, and it's been a pleasure to use. Anchor offers benefits that most other hosts do not. It's free to use, but it also has a collection of tools that allow you to create a podcast completely within the Anchor website or smartphone app. They distribute your show to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other distribution channels without any additional effort on your part, and you can make money from your podcast without any minimum audience size. So you can use it as a more traditional podcast host like I do, but it's also got everything you need to start a podcast from scratch. If you're keen to give it a shot, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's Thursday, February 9th, 2023. Let's talk about the news. From Reuters, U.S. approves up to $10 billion sale of HIMARS rocket launchers and ammunition to Poland. The U.S. government has approved a multi-billion-dollar arms sale to the Polish government, which includes the sale of long-range missile systems, like the much-vaunted High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, or HIMARS. Poland has been donating a lot of its older weapon systems to Ukraine, while simultaneously investing in newer equipment to update its arsenal, mostly in response to Russia's increasingly bellicose behavior. The shape and composition of this sale hasn't been finalized, but HIMARS have been controversial in Central Europe of late, as they would allow forces like the Ukrainian military, but also the Polish military, to strike fairly deep within Russian territory if they chose to do so, which the U.S. government has worried could expand the scope and scale of the currently limited to Ukraine conflict. From The Guardian, plant toxin hailed as new weapon in antibiotic war against bacteria. A newly discovered plant toxin called albacidin has been heralded by researchers as a potential new source of antibiotics that would be useful even against bacteria that have developed antibiotic resistance. This enthusiasm stems from albacidin's novel method of killing bacteria, which takes a different approach from other currently available antibiotics and doesn't seem to generate an immune response in bacteria in lab settings. It could take several years for medicines based on this mechanism to become available, but if this plays out the way researchers hope, it could help fill in gaps left by the current pharmaceutical system, which seldom invests in antibiotics because they're not very profitable. And that in turn has left us with an increasing number of bacterial infections that can no longer be treated with any of our existing medications, which is not good. And from the Wall Street Journal, near collisions on runways in New York and Texas rattle aviation officials. 2 recent incidents in which airplanes near U.S. airports nearly collided with each other have raised concerns about aviation-related safety regulations and sparked investigations into why these close calls happened, despite so many rules and safeguards that should, in theory, keep them from happening pretty much always. An FAA spokesperson has said that an upcoming hearing on these matters would focus on the causes of these recent incidents, what current regulations and policies might be leaving out, and what might be improved. Safety officials that have investigated both cases have rushed to reassure people, saying basically that there were weird variables at play and we might not want to draw broad conclusions from them as a consequence, noting also the very good record aviation safety has in the U.S. in general. But everyone involved does seem to want to take a look at these near misses to make sure they aren't overlooking something, and to adjust policies and implement new safety measures if warranted. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com, and you can support this and other related projects like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts at understandery.com.